First off, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those elders and apostles out there from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Allow respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that you guys may be sealed soon. And hopefully by the mercy and grace of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, all those brothers and sisters that's in the truth, all the elders and apostles that's been teaching and ruling well, hopefully we part our elect. With that being said, this is your brother Dewad Bar from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming right back at you with a little lesson. And I just want to make a little a point about this railroad strike that some people might not be aware of, and that some people it could still pose a problem. As you know, Biden signed the bill yesterday to block the railroad from striking on December 9th. And here's from Reuters here. This is was published December 2nd, 2022 at 2:04 p.m. And I'm finna just read it. Washington, December 2nd, President Joe Biden signed legislation Friday to block a national U.S. railroad strike that could have devastated the American economy. The U.S. Senate voted 80-15 on Thursday to impose a tentative contract deal reached in September on a dozen unions representing 115,000 workers who could have gone on strike on December 9th. But the Senate failed to approve a measure that would have provided paid sick days to railroad workers. It was tough for me, but it was the right thing to do at the moment. Save jobs to protect millions of working families from harm and disruption and keep supply chains stable around the holidays, Biden said. And the deal avoided an economic catastrophe. I'm just going to read this part. 8 of the 12 unions had ratified the deal, but some labor leaders have criticized Biden, a self-described friend of labor, for asking Congress to oppose a contract that workers in 4 unions have rejected over its lack of paid sick leave. So these workers rejected this contract due to the fact that they were getting overworked. They weren't able to take sick time, and if they did, they were getting written up for it, getting reprimanded for it, getting suspended for it, even getting threatened to lose their jobs for it. So they wanted sick time, and a lot of these union and a lot of these railroad workers are mad at Biden for sending up his side into legislation, this law. Now I'm finna read another point before I sit up here and get, I'm just gonna grab a real quick couple of quick scriptures. Now here's the point that I want to sit up here and grab. What if they went on strike anyway? This is from Freight Waves, and this is an article written by what's her name? It was written by Rachel Premack. It was written Thursday, December 1st, 2022. So it was written before Biden signed the law. So here's the point. The next question is, what if the rail workers went on strike anyway? They could, but it would be illegal. John Brennan III, a former senior counsel for Union Pacific Railroad, told Freight Waves Washington correspondent John Gallagher in September that the rail companies could exert enormous pressure on striking laborers to go back to work. If Congress passes legislation, it would immediately go to Joe Biden for his signature, and the minute he signs it, the unions will be obligated to end the impasse, Brennan told Gallagher. Workers have ignored such legislations in the past, but as Brennan said, if they try that, the railroads can march into court and get an injunction from a federal judge ordering the union to go back. If they defy that order, the unions could be hit with hefty fines. And then they brought up something that happened in 1981. It might remind some of the 1981 Wildcat strike of air traffic controllers and President Ronald Reagan's move to fire all 11,359 workers who went on strike. In defiance of the White House orders to get back to work, Reagan declared a lifetime ban on those who went on strike. So you talk about 11,000 workers. The Federal Labor Relations Authorities decertified the union, the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Association, a month later. But, and the whole point of the matter is that here it is. Let's say they go on strike anyway, then they can go to court for these people going on strike and get hefty fines. So here it is. These railroad workers, you're telling them basically that they can't do shit because old Sleepy Joe signed into law that they can't go on strike. But here it is, they getting overworked, exerted, they getting treated like slaves, treated like bums, just treated bad. And the reason I bring this up, because these people could go on strike anyway. They can go to work and not work. They could just stand there and look at stand there and look at the trains all day, or don't do anything, or a lot of them just could quit. So this strike could actually still happen in so many ways, you know. And also, it could sit up here and cause a lot of rifts, man. It could cause a lot of problems, man. This actually could cause people to sit up here and start protesting, striking, and doing all sorts of things, you know. But the point, I just want to get a few scriptures, man, because these are those unrighteous decrees, man, that these bums are going to come up with. And my first one is Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Woe means destruction. So my thing is, hey, these these owners of these railroads, Joe Biden sent up his signing into law that they can't go on strike. And a lot of these rail workers are mad, man, because this is an unrighteous decree. And like I said before, this could create a lot of chaos, man. You could cause a lot of problems with shit like this. This is Isaiah 10 and 2, to turn aside the needy from judgment and take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. And unrighteous decrees, man, like these fools right, man, are always, especially toward Jake. There's always unrighteous decrees with Jake. Jake get arrested. Jake get fucked over every damn time. Red line, you can't buy houses and all sorts of shit, man, because of unrighteous decrees. But hey, these elites don't give a fuck about nobody, even their own people. They don't care, And a lot of the railroad workers are Jakes. A lot of them are Jakes. So they don't give a fuck about overworking you and exerting you. They don't give a damn. But that's just But hey, it could still cause a lot of problems. This is Micah. I'm finna go to Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hands. And hey, these railroad owners and all these, and Joe Biden and all these elites, they don't give a fuck, man. It's in the power of their hands because they own everything, man. They got control of everything, And this just lets you know that you ain't in control of shit. Because here it is, if you go on strike, they could sit up here and try to force you to try to go back to work. Here it is, you can't even go on strike. Here it is, you can't even fight for rights to have certain freedoms and certain things that you want to do. And all this is going to lead to a lot of insurrection. All this could lead to a lot of that Egyptian on Egyptian. All this could lead up to that, man. All this could lead up to that. Because all these unrighteous decrees, all this shit that's going on, hey, this is just part of it. This is just part of it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to close out with that unrighteous decree. With that Isaiah 19 and 2. This is Isaiah 19 and 2. And I will set Egyptian against Egyptian. They shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what's going to be happening pretty soon anyway. Unrighteous decrees, all the things that's going on, the food shortages, everything that's happening, and in this railroad strike. Hey, just think about it. If these railroad workers do strike, they talk about $2 billion a day could be lost, if they decide to strike anyway. And I'm just saying it's a big if, But I found this kind of interesting, because a lot of these workers are real pissed off. And if you look at, there's a YouTuber called Kevin. He's saying that some of these workers are still planning on striking, and some of them still planning on quitting, and some plan on going to work and not working. So, hey, this is not over. This is not over. This could cause a lot of rift. But I thought it was interesting just to sit up here and read. And look, when I looked at the article and looked at if they striked anyway. And I listened to that YouTuber, Kevin. He sit up and had he talked about that for a moment, that, hey, some of these guys could still go on strike. So with that, I like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those elders and apostles out there from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, I always say stay prayed up, brothers. Pray for each other because we almost up out of here. So with that, I like to say Kwam Yasharella and Abba Ball. Shalom.